Hey, what's going on there, guys? Cloud of Truth here, and welcome back to my Battlefield 3 in-game class guide series. This series in which I take each of the 4 classes here in Battlefield 3, break them down for you all, talk about different tips, give tactics, strategies, talk about class setups, weapon loadouts, in order to better your success with each particular class here in the new in-game DLC. In this video today, I'm going to be covering the support class, and yes, I did just throw some C4 on that dirt bike, and you guys know what's coming. There's only 2 options you can have when you chuck C4 down on a fast-moving vehicle. 1, you get a nice, awesome, epic explosion kill against some armor, or 2, you get your head shot off by an explosive round. As for me, option 1 sounds better. Goodbye, Mr. Tank, see you later. Man, I just love it when stuff like that happens, and especially for me, I'm really bad with that. I don't know what it is. I just can't get those kamikazing, like, little dirt bike C4 things. I just suck at doing that, so moments like that are really cool for me. But when it comes to helping your team really win the game or round or whatever, I wouldn't really recommend doing that unless you're just, for some reason, amazing at doing so. If you're just really good at getting those armor kills and you actually do better when chucking C4 on a dirt bike and driving around to blow up the armor, hey, I mean, go for it. But for the most part, unless you're my buddy Squids, who's just fantastic when it comes to getting road kills or doing that, he's killed me quite a few times with the C4 stuff. I know him, and really since the life of this game has come out, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but hey, you know, have some fun sometimes and just run around like that if you just want to have a little bit of kind of trollage on some enemy armor. Like I said, though, I'm going to be covering the support class in this video, talking a little bit about primarily the weapon loadout that I'm using here, as well as a few tactics. I'm not going to go into just the core tactics themselves. I'm going to kind of feed off this gameplay a little bit more than I have in the previous class guide videos to see if you all like this a little bit more. If you do, just let me know if you prefer kind of the core tactics. Look, just kind of give me the breakdown stuff, or as opposed to kind of use the gameplay and talk a little bit about it to show things. Just let me know down in the comment section, so I'm always looking to change how I compensate when it comes to tactic stuff to give you guys the more enjoyable, helpful, and entertaining video. Now, right here is a 10 kill streak I'm going on Capture the Flag on Operation Riverside, which I think I'm kind of in consensus with most of the people that I know, and especially on PlayStation 3, having been able to play these maps for over a week now. Operation Riverside is probably the best map in the game, especially in Capture the Flag. There's just something about this map that it just I don't know, it works, and I think this is the best map, it's the best looking map, even though the PlayStation 3's hardware is old. Look, I understand that. Go back 7 years. Tell me what your high-end PC was like. Yeah, didn't think so. Not nearly as good as you have today. So even on these old, rusty, I don't know, Stone Age hardware that we have, it still looks great, and it just flows right. There's something about this map that I do enjoy, and I'm kind of go along with many of the other people that I play with and the other commentators. It's just such a great map. It really is. I really do enjoy it. And especially this map, I can make use of a loadout in which I never thought I'd really use or actually recommend here in Endgame. People like to call Endgame kind of like the mini version of Armored Kill. It's just giant, it's open, you know, oh boy, here comes another Armored Kill DLC. Come on, DICE, let's see if you can get this right. Because Aftermath was, for me personally, kind of tied with Back to Karka in terms of being the best DLC for Battlefield 3. It's just, the map design in Aftermath was really good. So Armored Kill was, I think, the least played DLC of Battlefield 3. It's just too open for many players, and it's too much armor going around. So they kind of were fearful of Endgame, thinking it was going to be the same, but it didn't turn out quite so much. And I can actually make use of a great loadout, especially in Capture the Flag. And here's some nice fail shots. I mean, oh man, it's just terrible. I'm not really the best of aim, and I just fail right there. Thankfully, though, I'd avoid death and some serious embarrassment, as if the missing with the S-tac was not embarrassing enough. Finally trade with that guy and eventually end my 10 kill streak. But I come back here 2 more times, actually, in this clip and the next one, the same route, in order to harass the enemy team a little bit more and try to go capture the flag. But people were a little bit concerned when it came to Endgame if it was going to be identical to Armored Kill. And in some respects, Conquest is like that, but Capture the Flag, I feel, plays out a lot differently because the action takes place so much around the bases. It's medium to kind of close quarters gunfights, and that's where this loadout really shines. And that's the M27 IAR with whatever scope you want. I got the reflex on right now. I also use, I think, the Cobra, maybe even the holographic a little bit later on. The bipod and the suppressor. Yes, the suppressor, the attachment that is like the sin now Battlefield. People say, oh, don't use suppressor, it's bad, it's terrible for your gun, it ruins it. Not really. It actually is really, Good. And I've talked a little bit about Suppressor in a couple of previous class guides. I think it was a Recon as well as actually all three, Recon, Assault, and the Engineer class guide as well. And it's just, it's the same theme here again with the support class. It's, especially with support though, because you have such large magazine size, the Suppressor does nerf your damage range as well as it decreases your bullet velocity. In both aspects, really cuts it about in half from the stock. And so it really does kind of degrade your weapon when it comes to range engagements. And so you're gonna need more bullets to take out your enemies. You can't just, it's not gonna be the same amount that you're used to. You're gonna have to get more shots. It's gonna be just hit markers for days when you're shooting enemies at long range. And so with assault rifles and carbines, you oftentimes will have to reload. And with the using LMGs, especially weapons like the M27, oftentimes at long range I find myself having 5, 4, even 3 shots left over. Whereas if I was using an assault rifle, I would have had to stop and reload. And if you have to stop and reload, that gives your enemies time to go to duck and cover, find a hiding spot, kind of wait, and kind of wait you out in a sense of, or if they're medic, just heal up and re-peek and see if they can take you out. So having that such large magazine size with the Suppressor, I feel like really complements it well. And with that, combined with, or excuse me, taking your suppressed weapon, combining that with your C4, makes a great attacker and defender in Capture the Flag. You can rush around in the enemy space, be very, very aggressive, take enemies out stealthily, go after the flag, and if because you have the Suppressor, the enemy armor vehicles oftentimes do not even know that you're there unless they're in comms with the people they're playing with that you ended up killing, or if they're just very intelligent and just smart tank or LAV drivers that are watching their minimap or just seeing where their dead friendlies are. They're not going to notice you. And because of that, you can just sneak up right behind them, put that C4 down, and blow them up, and they're going to have no idea what's coming. Now, that's kind of the aggressive role that I like to play with support. You can also play defensively with it too. That C4, and especially sticking near your base with a suppressed weapon, enemy dirt bikes like to roll in, guy hops off, shoot him in the back, he didn't know where it came from. Another guy maybe did hop, that came in maybe 30, 45 yards away. He doesn't know that you're there. He may have, there may be a dead body on the minimap, but he doesn't know where that came from or anything like that. And if an enemy tank rolls up, LAV, anything like that, they're not going to see you even if you fire off your weapon just because you have the suppressor on there. And so, especially near these flag cap zones, since they're so close quarters, this was a panic moment. How did I live through that? That was probably the luckiest knife swipe I've had. I generally miss when it comes to those, so the luck was on my side right then. But because these areas near the flag bases and Capture the Flag are so freaking close quarters, that it really lets you use your C4 effectively, because this isn't like Bad Company 2, where you had just massive forearms that could chuck C4 for miles. This guy, you've got little toothpicks apparently, because he can't throw C4 more than 5 feet. So you have to stick near the areas of the map that are extremely close quarters that really lets you use your C4 effectively. And near the flag near the flag bases and Capture the Flag is where that's the most close quarters areas on the map are going to be, and that's where I'd recommend sticking to when you're playing support class. I wouldn't recommend kind of staying around the medium range of the maps and chasing armor, going after them. Wait for them to come to you. You are an engineer. You don't have long range capabilities unless you want to run something like a mortar, which I've seen guys use. The one guy that had a mortar, though, he literally got launched a couple hundred feet in the air. So that's what it looked like when I blew him up. But I wouldn't recommend so much using the mortar. Stick with the C4 near the close quarters areas of the map. Wait for the armor to come to you. Don't chase it unless you're amazing with that dirt bike. Chuck the C4 down and go get kills like that. So here I am up in Savalon Pipeline in the enemy's base, and they've got no idea that I'm here. They don't know where I am. All they know is that they're getting hit, and it's just, where is this coming from? I don't know where this guy is at. Kind of similar to my recon video I talked about, where I had the suppressor using that P90. The enemies didn't know where I was. They do the area, but so it took a while once I had to kill them a couple times in order for them to figure out where I was. Once again, I don't have to worry about popping up on that minimap making a racket. When I pop out of there and shoot the guy that was on the dirt bike, I really wasn't afraid. The only time I'm going to get noticed is if an enemy is really smart enough to see exactly where the bullets are coming from, or if he actually sees me standing out there shooting. Other than that, you're pretty much in cover. You're good to go. Now, it was rough for me putting away the Tiger. I really wanted to use it, and I tried it, and it's okay on these maps. But if you want to play either, really, I feel like the role support class should be used in terms of staying near the either enemy's base or your own base. The M240B is certainly amazing for that. It doesn't seem to work nearly as well as the M27 IAR with the suppressor on. That is what I found personally to be the most successful weapon for me, and the weapon that I've done my best with. Now, when it comes to vehicle transportation as support, certainly you can stick. Oftentimes you can use mobile AA Jeeps aren't bad, because many players seem like I don't know what it is. This is kind of my personal experience. Whenever I'm in a mobile AA Jeep, I get rushed a lot, even from engineers, things like that. I don't get really shot at from afar unless it's by an enemy tank. I oftentimes just end up getting rushed, and so being able to pop out, chuck some C4 down, as many people like to say, don't ever abandon your vehicle. That's true, except when you're playing support, hop out, let the enemy hop back in, and just put C4 on him and blow him up. That's actually something you can use if you feel like you're getting surrounded. If you know one or two guys on there, just hop out real quick, chuck a stick or two of C4 down, and blow it up. Now, it's not really something I'd recommend doing all the time, but it's actually most certainly an option that you can use when it comes to using vehicles, whether it be the mobile AA Jeeps. Tanks, not so much. Go down with your tank is kind of a good rule of thumb. Even if you feel like you're getting rushed, it's not worth the risk of dying trying to blow up your C4, as I've had happen so many times in Endgame. But just kind of a reminder when it comes to vehicle transportation, you can't take on enemy vehicles at range. You have to be right next to them, so the dirt bikes are probably going to be your best means of transportation here in Endgame, much like the Assault and the Recon class. Now here I've switched up, and this is some Conquest here on Keostal Railroads. I'm using, of course, the M27 again, but this time I've got the PKA 3.4, the bipod, and the heavy barrel. Yes, the heavy barrel. I've taken off the suppressor to see how the heavy barrel has worked. I've tried it a couple times, and it does work very, very well. The heavy barrel basically takes your weapon spread and cuts it in half, making a LMG like the M27 very, very accurate. And one note I'd like to add about the suppressor, it actually is more accurate than the base stock of the weapon. And just the regular old accuracy, the suppressor slightly increases the accuracy of the gun. Basically, the heavy barrel cuts the spread of your weapon in half, and the suppressor is half of that. So it is a little bit more accurate than the base accuracy of the gun, but not quite as good as the heavy barrel. Much like in Capture the Flag, when it comes to playing support in Conquest, stick near the flag cap zones. Don't try to, run around in the larger areas of the map that are more giant and open and try to, fight with enemy armor or try to kill enemies there. It depends. If you're running like a heavy barrel like this, this setup I've got on here is more suited for ranged engagements, but try to stick near the close quarters areas of the map, because that's where you're not so much just your weapon alone, but your equipment, where it's going to be suited the best is the close quarters areas of the map. Now, of course, one big thing when it comes to support, as you guys know, I've always try to do, is the ammo. Man, just throw it down. Throw down the ammo. I hate seeing support class players that don't do that. When I need ammo, just throw it down. Just throw the ammo box down. And I'm not perfect. I oftentimes miss when teammates need ammo. But just constantly, if there's a break in the action, throw ammo down. It needs to become second natured when you play support. You don't need to have to be realizing that, I'm out of bullets before I need ammo. You should be constantly throwing that thing down. And yes, you can do this if you get lucky enough. Unfortunately, right here, I was not, so you can pair-drop out of this, the dropship and throw C4 down, but, man, I don't know if it was just when I did it too late, or if it's just the fact of I just got unlucky when the LAV did not drive over the sticks of C4. It wasn't quite on him when I blew it up. Unfortunately, I did not get the kill there. That would have been pretty darn sweet. So that kind of wraps it up really for the main tips when it comes to playing support. When it comes to Capture the Flag, I personally like to play the aggressive role. Try out the suppressor, see how that works for you. You can use the heavy barrel once again, or really any setup that you prefer. When it comes to playing these new maps, it's more about just map knowledge, gaining experience, and trying different things out, trying setups out, trying weapons out, to see what works the best for you. Because, like I always tell you guys, what works for me may not work for you as well. So the suppressor combo that I have found to be just amazing, and I've had some really, really good games with running the suppressor on. It may not suit you guys nearly as well, and you may end up struggling with it. So try different guns out, try different combos out to see what suits you and your playstyle best. Now, coming up here, this last clip, I think I end up killing a couple of guys here towards the end of this video, and unfortunately, we do end up losing this round of Conquest. But stick to the close quarters parts of the maps, whether it be the MCOMs areas in Rush, the flag cap zones in both Conquest and Capture the Flag, and you should play very well, or you should play to the strengths of the support class and use its equipment to its advantage in order to help your team win rounds. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and please leave your thoughts about this down below in the comments section, what you all have found in terms of different uses when it comes to playing supports, different tactics, or other tips that you all have found to be helpful. I'm always looking once again to improve myself within each particular class here in Battlefield 3. If you guys enjoyed this different kind of tactic stuff, when I just kind of mentioned a little bit more about the gameplay and things like that, leave your comments down below. I'm very, very curious if you all find this to be a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more, maybe not so much informational, but if it makes it, I don't know, if it interests you a little bit more, that's always something I'd like to know. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, consider rating it, and I'd appreciate it very much. See you all next time. Bye.